In today's video, I will be installing a STI transmission mount. The first steps would have been to jack the tranny up, because this is the transmission mount here that you need to remove. However, attached to that and in the way is this hairy piece of cardboard with 10mm bolts all on it. To get that removed, you have to remove the aluminum skid plate that's all the way up there. So I will start removing the skid plate and the carpet. One thing to note here on the skid plate is on top of the 10mm bolts, plastic pusher clips here. Those will all need to be removed. It looks like 3 on each side here. Actually, on the driver's side, there's only a front one and a middle one there, as the back one has nothing in it because it's got a wall liner here. The driver's side, that's the passenger side. The driver's side does have 3, and they're not all 10mm. The ones on the hairy carpet appear to be 10mm. The ones right here are 12mm on this pan here, at least the front side. At the back of the aluminum skid plate will be 2 10mm up here and over here, and then a plastic clipper doodle. This goes into the hairy cardboard. Once you have the panels off, the under panels, you will be ready to support it with a jack. So what I did was take the only smallest jack I had. If you have some kind of bottle jack and maybe some stacks of wood or something to get it up close enough, to get it high enough in the air to support the tranny, that would be probably recommended, because that's smaller than what I had to use here. What you're going to do here now that you've got this supported is then you're going to take, there's 6 bolts here that are 14mm, 2 on each side. This 14 and this 14, and it looks like your front pipe might be almost blocking it. In order to get this guy out of here, as I was telling you earlier, this side, the passenger side, you could not get a ratchet on. I had to use a box end and a combination of a ratcheting box end to get to this side. 2 14mm, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 2 for the mount, 1 on the middle of the mount here, and 2 underneath where the bushing goes. They're not very tight. Let me say, 30 foot-pounds is not much. So I would say when you go to put it back on, just put it back on the same way. Try to guesstimate. I hate to say it because I cannot get a torque wrench in here. You can kind of guesstimate. It's not too very awful tight for that side, unless you want to drop the... Sorry about that, guys. You can probably tell what time of year it is. It's the 4th of July. Anyways, back to what I was saying. Unless you want to drop the front pipe, that's your only option here. You tell me. Let's give a guess here. Is the new one the one on the left or the one on the right? Okay, it's the one on the left. Looking here, you can see the difference. You see how this one has the holes here? Get it up here into the light a little better. You see how it has the holes there where the little bushing is on the sides there? The Subaru STI version has smaller holes. It comes way down. The bushing is a bigger duro, heavier. And then also, when I try to press on it here, you can see there's not a lot of flex here. When I take this one, all kinds of flex. almost no flex. There is a little bit. They say this is the best option. You know, there's an option to buy an insert, put a rubber in here or a poly in here, around here like the U-shaped. Then to take this metal piece out of the center, put a thicker one in, and bolt it down to the 60 foot-pounds. However, that makes this so stiff, they're saying they get HVH in the cab then. Versus this one is just enough flex to it to where supposedly they claim it gets little to no HVH in the cab and you get all the benefits. If you look closely here, you may see an arrow here. That arrow faces towards the front of the car when putting this back on. And of course it's the reverse steps of taking it off and torquing it down to 30 foot-pounds on the outer two, on all four of these bolts, on the 6 bolts on the underneath pan, which would be 2 over here, 2 over here, and these 2 here. Now when putting this back on, you can see these feet here. This kind of has a U shape, and the U will go down this way for the feet. And you'll need to make sure there was a washer and a nut when bolting it up to the transmission. After you've got them a little bit tightened, you'll want to go back and take your jack off so you have some weight on them. That's when you would torque it down. Everything I can find here is conflicting reports. They say 30 foot-pounds for these 4 here, 2 here, and 2 here, the 2 there on the rubber mount, and in there's 30, and then they say 60 here, or they say 38 here, or they say 38 at all these instead. So I just went 38 at all these that I could get my wrench in on. And then of course you're going to reverse to put your underbelly pans on. That's my first 1 to 2 to 3 shift, and I can feel a difference. It is more precise going into gears. It feels a little bit more notchy. I think I can slightly hear it in the cab as it's going. But the shifter is more solid. I mean, it still has a little bit of the slop because of it being on a linkage. This is a major improvement. I consider this, from the little bit I've driven, kind of like a OEM Plus. I do recommend this upgrade. It was fairly inexpensive. I ordered this upgrade from Japan. You can log online and find American vendors that possibly have it. It's a little cheaper when you order it from Japan. So if you're not in a hurry and get somebody to import it for you, it would be cheaper. Took it up there to Redline a couple times, getting on the ramp to get on the highway. No HVH, no tranny whine through the knob. I think I can feel the tranny a little more when I hold on to the knob. You know, it feels like something's rolling through it. But again, it's a major improvement. Now I'm going to be adding a new scales to my review. The first scale will be value for the money. For the $100 and some, I'll put it down here in the bottom. Here I don't quite remember how much it was. For the $150-ish for the value, you're getting a lot for your money. This car should have maybe came with the STI mount. It being a Subaru mount really improves everything. I recommend it for the value. Ease of installation is fairly easy. It's a little time consuming considering you have to take the front plate and the back hairy cardboard off, but it's easy. You couldn't get a torque wrench into the one side if you did not remove the front pipe, which I didn't do, but I kind of could tell how tight it was when I was loosening it. So that's what I went back to, around the same tightness. So ease of installation is there. I give it about a 3 out of 5 on a wrench scale. And for overall experience of driving, I recommend it. It's really worth the time it takes to install it. It's worth adding it. It really improves the feel of the shifting. I don't see any negative drawbacks from this installation. I would like to thank you for watching today's video. Please comment, like, and subscribe. And remember, treat others how you would want to be treated. Have a good week.